we're going to review creating a test um, and having that test be available for use with Microsoft Teams. So we've already gone through in other videos how to create a test automatically and how to manually create a test. We're not going to go through that configuration. What we will review is just how to use this with Teams integrations. So one easy way is just by using the share with Teams functionality. So for example, if we just take a look at any of these existing open tests, and we find any of these open tests, we can use share to Teams. And when we use share to Teams, it will just grab the URL and make it available for anybody inside of Teams use. Now, what you're going to notice is if we just, for example, if we post this into the quality inspectors example, the preview mode is actually configurable. So these fields, for those that are using the phone interface or the tablet interface, will be familiar with how to configure that. But in Business Central and the Teams, it actually uses the same brick fields that you can configure. So we see here gray, test, details, document, and we can see what's pulling in a whole bunch of other details from our test. So let's take a look at how to configure that. So before we do that, we'll just take a quick look at our Teams. And if we take a look at our note, we'll see that that same link just got shared. And then of course, if we open it up, it'll take us into Business Central, referencing that specific record. All right, so this is a great way if you need just ad hoc communication for anybody within in your Teams environment. You know, hey, I need you to go take a look at this test. That's perfect. Now, to configure the fields that go in that little preview, it's actually the same fields that you would configure for your phone and tablet interface. We're just going to navigate to our Quality Inspector setup, and we're going to scroll down to our Personal Device Interface section. And you'll see here that you can still configure your caption. You can include whatever fields you'd like inside of here. So for example, if you had additional source fields that you wanted to show in, or if certain values didn't really matter to you. So for example, let's say that you are creating your tests always off of an item in a lot, perhaps off of the lot number information, and your tests aren't really related to a document per se, and you don't really care about tracking that detail, then you could replace these document fields with something that does make sense for you. All right, that's great. Now, one other thing you can do is inside of your Teams is you can also just add in a tab that's related to your actual quality inspection tests as well. So for example, you could add in tabs that are maybe showing you unassigned or assigned, and you can interact with it entirely within Teams as well. Okay, now let's go through an example with Power Automate on how you can say, take a look at or create a Teams notification whenever a test has been, altered or created, right? So for example, maybe we want to, anytime that a test has changed, we'll just go with any kind of change for now. We'll just put a post inside of Teams so that it, we just see that a test has been altered. All right. So to get started with that, we're just going to navigate into Power Automate. We're going to create a new flow. So we're going to create an automated cloud flow. And for simplicity, we're just going to go with Business Central whenever a record is changed. All right, we should probably give this a name here. So we're just going to call this example Teams notification. All right, so we're just going to choose our environment and our company. I'm using my examples company. We're going to use the quality inspection API category, and our table is the quality inspection tests. Perfect. So anytime that a record has changed, we're now going to do something. So now what we need is we need to have that URL, right? So we can grab that as well within Business Central. So we're just going to find our Business Central actions, and there should be a nice get URL inside of here. So we're just going to put in that inventory count, company examples, same thing. Now the page here, so this is going to be the page ID that you want to link it to. So for example, if we just pretty much open any test. So in our case here, I wanted to open up maybe directly on the card page. So I'm just going to open the card page, and then in the URL, you're going to see that page equals a bunch of numbers. Just grab the bunch of numbers and then stick it inside of here. So in our case, this is going to be this 230-67641. And then we're going to grab that row ID, which comes from that when a record is changed. Okay, so now we've got Business Central telling us what the URL is. And now the next step after that is to actually post that inside of Microsoft Teams. So we will just find the Teams action. We're going to do post a message in a chat or channel. Sounds good. We'll post as Flowbot. You could post as a specific user as well. For now, we'll just post it as a Flowbot. And we'll post it into a channel. We'll just stick it in the channel for everyone to see. You could also post it into individuals as well. And we'll use our InsightWorks example team. And inside of that, we'll use our quality inspectors channel. All right. So now we're just going to say, hello, everybody. A test has changed. All right. And you would grab that web client URL here. Now, you're going to notice we don't have a heck of a lot of values here by default. Business Central doesn't give you a lot, so you do need to add in if you want to say, like, grab in, who's it's assigned to, or maybe with some other details. We just need to pull in those details, again, through another Business Central action. So we'll just do Business Central action. And we are just going to get that same record, reconfigure this all again, same details each time. None of this really changes. And our table is our quality inspection tests. And our row ID is that same row ID. And perfect. Okay. So now what we're going to see is you've now actually got some fields that you can stick inside of the system. Right. So we see, who it's assigned to, a bunch of source fields and things of that nature. All right. So first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to put in the actual link itself. So we'll put in that web client URL. Now, one little twist with this is when you add this in, this is just text. It's not an actual URL. So there's a little bit of a trick to it. And the trick is basically you just need to switch into this mode and add it in through a link. Or if you're using the desktop version, it's a little bit easier as well. But we're just going to say that the test number, so we'll just say this, for the test plan on item, let's find the item number for lot, and let's stick in the lot number, is currently assigned to, and then we'll put in the assigned user ID, and then we'll put in our link. All right, so now we're going to get to the little trick. So inside of here, we see how we've got that web client URL. So all we're going to do is we're just going to stick in a link to that. Perfect. And then we're just going to stick in that web client URL again, just so we see what it is to that human. And off we go. Okay. So we are now, say, inside of Teams, right? We have, clicked on it. And, maybe that test was created, maybe, that got referred to me by a human, but I can still, alter it. I can perhaps assign it to another individual. So perhaps I'm going to assign it to, and I currently don't have permission to change that assignment. So now you can also change the permission to the assignment on the function permissions. For now, we're just going to make another change on here. So we're just going to say extra detail. That is important. And what this should do is this should then trigger that modify record, and then we should see that example in the Teams message, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to change this to allowed. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at Teams, and what we should see now is we see that message because we changed that test. And we can see, hello everybody, test has changed. There's our test document for the test plan receive on that item for the lot, whatever is currently assigned to admin, and that's it. So There is a several different ways of interacting with Teams with the quality inspector. You can also, if you're doing manual link sharing, you've also got this ability for the preview mode. You do need to have the Business Central add-in installed for this preview to work, but it's all configurable. And that is how you integrate Microsoft Teams with the quality inspector.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content.